This week on the podcast is Just Us Boys. We're pre-recording, so we have something special for you. Roll that intro.
Keep it up, blip.
Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing. I am your host, Danny K. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green Elite Green. How are you doing?
I am vibing and thriving, my guy. I cannot complain.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Mendacii, we're joined by you, the Spooky and the Ookly. I'm all sorts of out of sorts, but it's a special episode, so that's just fine. How are you doing?
It's a relaxed fit for sure.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Well, we'll see how relaxed it is, because we are going to do some review speed runs. We are going to set the clock for 30 minutes and then see how many games we can review in that 30 minutes. That is this special episode, so hopefully you guys enjoy. Let us know if you've played any of the games that we will be talking about, and if you like stuff like this, maybe going ahead and hit that subscribe button. That would be really appreciated. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for me to put some time on the clock?
I think so.
Jeez. Oh boy. Yeah, I suppose.
All right. Our time starts now. And I am starting right away with Goodbye Doggy. Goodbye Doggy is an incredibly short HTML5 puzzle game by Picogram, where you play as the ghost of a family dog, helping their owners get over the loss of you, their beloved pet. The game is at most 10 minutes long as a playthrough, and it's in HTML5. That means you can play on PC, Mac, or Chromebook, basically anything with a browser. The game has a very somber but charming pixel art style aesthetic that gives you cozy vibes. The game music is light and airy chiptune track that reminds me of the GBA era of games. Has very simple control scheme, and the arrow keys and Z key being the only keys you need to move and interact with the environment to solve the puzzles. Overall, the game is perfect for anyone looking for a quick lunch break experience in the cafeteria, or if you're away from your main gaming setup like I was when I checked this out. Green, you're next. You're muted.
Oh my god. I got Nomad. It's on Steam. It's free to play. It is a short, very, very, very short like indie homemade game. It's I think it took me 10 minutes. It's developed by Bob Wu and David Zhang, and it's published by USC Games. It has absolutely no story to it. It is 3 phases of you're essentially turning on this giant colossal robot stone man. Again, no text, no story. And you just fly. It's a tether mechanic where you shoot out this gold line to these floating orbs, and that's how you go places. You still have your standard walking and stuff like that, but it's got a lot of the physics mechanics to it. Free to play on Steam. I wouldn't say it's a great game, but you can definitely tell that someone's put some effort into it. And if you have 10 minutes to kill, it's definitely worth at least trying out and flying around like Spider-Man for a second.
Mendacii.
Hey, first one I'm gonna do actually is gonna be A Little to the Left, which came out a couple months back. It's just a cute, simple, clean game about cleaning and organizing, which kind of sounds a little at first, but it's really well illustrated. And the missions can help you feel really validated, especially if you're often chastised for being a very specific kind of way about how you like to organize your things. It also really just gave me the good brain feeling, and it put me in a good mindset before I did homework. It just kind of helped me focus and kind of look at things in a different way. It takes about a few hours to beat, but it feels like it goes by a lot faster at times. And overall, after you finish it, there's actually daily missions that you can play, and those take anywhere between a minute to 5 or 10 minutes, depending on if you understand what the game is trying to show you, because you're looking for patterns, matching, so on and so forth. It's about $15 on Steam, and if you like organizing and enjoy that cozy aesthetic, I would definitely recommend it. Back to you.
All right, so mine is Next Door. It's again super short HTML5 horror game by Rollback, which can be played on itch.io for free. It's based around the horror mangaka Junji Ito's Mimi's Ghost Stories as a tribute to the iconic storyteller. The game is in pixel art and tells the story of a horrifying experience a student has when she confronts her neighbor about his loud music. There isn't really any sort of gamey elements here. It's more of an interactive experience, something to pull out. If you're doing like a little horror night, if you want to have your friends get creeped out. The pixel art is done really well. The animation was done very well, and it was worth playing. You'd be done in like less than 5 minutes. Green.
All right. So the next one I have is Revenant. It recently came out March 29th of 2023. I believe it was made in Korea. It's developed and published by Mayfly. And it is a 2D, not technically platformer. It's like a 2D shooter game where you run along this certain path and you have to shoot stuff. You have no health bar, so like when you're hit, you're dead. Which is pretty nice. But it doesn't take you back to the whole beginning of the game. The roughest thing about this game is that the English version is machine translated right now. They're working on like an actual like English translation, so like a lot of the stuff that they're saying just doesn't make sense. But I mean, it's got your standard gun that you have to you can press the reload button for. You have a special ability of like slash. It's like a slash and then a roll, and then there's like an ultimate ability where you can essentially freeze time, and then like it's like the quick draw mechanic from Red Dead Redemption, where it slows time and then you just pop pop pop. Overall, very fun game. Very short. I think I spent like 30 minutes on it and beat it. The art style is gorgeous, wonderful neon pixel art. Like the cutscenes and stuff are great. The cover of the actual like the thumbnail on Steam is phenomenal anime-esque style. Very much recommend trying it out. And it's free to play.
Mendacii.
All right, so the next one I've got is actually free on Game Pass. It is Ravenlock by Coco Cucumber, and it is brand new. This game came out May 3rd, so about 4 days ago from when we're recording. So it's kind of this soft pastel modern take on old like polygonal JRPGs that a lot of us probably played on like PS1, Dreamcast, Saturn, and 64. The visuals are accompanied by an equally nostalgic kind of like sound bites and symphonic music that highlight your entire journey around in this really magical game. So the beginning is like very quaint, very normcore, and it feels like a Miyazaki film, specifically Spirited Away. You move to a farmhouse, you're bored as hell, and you do some chores for your parents, and then your dad's like, "Hey, go look in the barn. I bet there's something cool there." And you find your great aunt's like old mirror and some other bits and baubles that she collected over the years. And like after cleaning the mirror, you get sucked into basically just Alice in Wonderland. It is this artist's take on what if Miyazaki redid Alice in Wonderland. And that's pretty much the entire premise of the story. So like don't expect anything that's like super new or anything like that. The combat is very simple. Like you could get through if you mash X, but you do get some cool skills. Um, you do level up here and there with a max level of 20. You can get through the game in about 3 hours. You can get 100% like I did, get all them achievos in about 4 hours. Now, the one thing I do want to say is that I experienced zero bugs. The entire thing is exceptionally clean. It's got that really nice Unreal Engine lighting. And overall, it was just like a nice trip down memory lane to play and gave me the feeling of those old JRPGs that I grew up with that got me into video games. And one final note before I tell you if I recommend this or not, I did see a lot of other game reviews on Ravenlock leading up to this episode, in which a lot of people dogged on it because it was so simple or like it wasn't challenging. And it's like, not every game has to be some sort of Dark Souls. And, we share this space with youngsters. So if you have someone that, like you're kind of trying to scoop them up into being more of like a hardcore gamer and like nurturing that idea that games are cool and fun and interesting ways to kind of massage your creativity. This is the perfect game for a budding gamer. It's not too hard, it's not difficult at all. Or if you are actually looking to kind of go back down that memory lane that I got to go down, this is stellar. Otherwise, if that sounds boring to you or you don't like the aesthetic, obviously stay away. It's 24.99. I don't think it's on Steam right now, so you'd have to get it on your Xbox One or Xbox One X or Xbox Game Pass. 24.99 with some like aesthetic stuff for DLC. There doesn't really seem to be anything that's going to come out later for it. But yeah, I would highly recommend it if that's something that you're into. So back to you, Danny.
All right, so the next one I have is called The Driver, and The Driver is an experience where you suffer through the worst horror imaginable, awkward social interactions. You are stuck in a car with a painfully awkward gig driver who desperately wants to make conversation with you. There is nothing else to do but marinate in this hell, nothing to look at but the driver's creepy, disproportionate head and eyes, nothing to hear but the excruciating pleas for shallow conversation. The voice acting is believable, which is more terrifying than anything else in the game. It's a very short game or experience and a great way to make your friends cringe. Enjoy. It's free on itch.io. Green.
Okay, you ready for this infamy? This absolute infamy. I'm gonna do a quick one on Hogwarts Legacy. Okay, we haven't touched this with a 10-foot pole on the show before. Um, the game it's a AAA title. It is exactly what you would expect. It's from Avalanche Software and it's published by Warner Bros. Games. Um, it is a full priced, $70 game. Um, it is set in the Harry Potter universe, where you are a new student at Hogwarts and you are learning magic and following a storyline. I have had absolutely no problems with this game. I it genuinely unlocked a childhood fantasy of mine of being a wizard and going to Hogwarts and using all these spells. The combat mechanics are fantastic. The whole open world aesthetic is awesome. You get to design your own wand. There's so much to do in the game. You can make potions on your spare time. You can explore. You can fly a broom. It's a great game. You know, it it's yeah, it's a great game. I can't say anything bad about the game itself. The creator, on the other hand, yikes. Anyway, Mendacii, what do you got?
Back to me then. I've got Cassette Beasts, which is another newer game, and holy crap, man. There's not going to be a bad thing in this review. So if you just want to like go ahead, pause, and go download it, it's free on Game Pass right now. It's by Bitten Studios, and it released back in April. So for one thing, this is a Pokemon like, which I don't know if there's like a name for that or like Poke like or something. So I'm just gonna say Poke like because that's fun, but it does a ton of stuff that we have not seen before. So like Temtem, fuck that game. You ever heard of Temtem? Probably not because it sucks. Anyway, so Cassette Beast is kind of where it's at. The game opens up, you get to make your little 16-bit OC, which I did like almost perfectly. And you almost get kind of isekai'd into an island, but you find out that it's inhabited by people that have also just kind of shown up here over time. Some people have only been here for like a couple years. Some people are like, I was born here. And there's screwed up monsters everywhere. But not only that, there's like vampiric salesmen going around trying to get into people's homes and sell them vacuum cleaners. The comedy that's written here is phenomenal. The music, phenomenal. The monster designs, probably some of my favorite, if not my favorite designs that I've seen. And I've been playing Pokemon since Blue. They're really inspired. It also does this fantastic thing where it takes a lot of stuff from, say, Shin Megami Tensei or Persona, and mashes it with Pokemon, and all for the better in this really exceptional compatible grouping. The combat itself, it still uses elements and stuff, but it's completely in like just brand new. the way that they interact with each other. There's no necessarily like, oh, fire type is weak to this. It's like, well, there's probably three things it's weak to, but there's probably three things that it will absolutely fucking wreck. Really, really fun. And you can constantly play with you and a partner, which by the way, this is co-op. So two people can actually play this and control your monsters. Now, the difference here is that you're not a trainer. You're actually recording monsters on cassette tapes. And then when you pop it into a player with your headphones on, you turn into that creature. And then you fight as that creature. There's evolutions, though they call them remasters. They're shinies, but they're called bootlegs. And the bootlegs actually have like different elements. So if that's a metal type, you could find a bootleg that's actually an electric type. So the way that all of those kind of interact with each other, brand new. I promise you haven't seen anything like it before. Like a poison type fighting a metal type will actually cause the metal type creature to have his attacks poison tipped. So he will do like regular metal damage, but then he'll also do poison damage on the end of it. Really, really sick. There's straight up no bugs that I've seen, and it's kind of done in this style that's kind of like the remastered and Link to the Past. So if you enjoyed that or you like that aesthetic, I would highly recommend it. The art that they have for the monsters in game is unparalleled, super awesome, and just like all the other little details are fantastic. A total of 4 people worked on this. There was like one dude who did the level design, and then the two brothers, I think it was brothers, did like all of the art for the monsters alongside one gal who did like all of the music. And the music has this very like mellow indie kind of vibe. It boasts about like 27 hours to get 100% completion, but like for the first time in decades, I feel like I want to actually go and collect all 121 of these beasts. And otherwise, I really can't recommend it enough, especially if you're into games like Shin Megami Tensei or Pokemon or anything like those. And it's only $20 if you wanted to buy it. Otherwise, it's free on Game Pass. It's available on Steam, on Xbox Game Pass, and Nintendo Switch. So a lot of options. Back to Danny.
Yeah, so my next one is called Sort the Court, and that's an HTML game that you can play for free on itch.io. You are the king of a kingdom and select yes or no on the requests of your citizens. Some of them make you money, some of them lose you money, some of them make the people happy, some of them make them sad. Eventually, as you grow, other kingdoms will ask you to help them, and you'll be asked to join a circle of other well-beloved kings and queens. The game has a very simple mid-2010s Cartoon Network art style. The music is all right. It loops a lot and can get just a little old. I mean, really old. Did I play all the way through it? Yeah, sure. I had nothing else to do. I was away from my home and my fiance was sleeping we were in a hotel room. Would I do it again? Probably not. It's a good idle game if you want to be super duper brainless. Green, you.
So I got Johnny Chainsaw. Johnny Chainsaw is a game that we encountered a while ago at 2D Con after a pandemic had sprouted, and we met with the actual creator, fantastic guy. It's on I believe it's the full release of Johnny Chainsaw. It is a very interesting 2D game, platformer game where you actually don't jump. You either move left or right, and up and down, and then you have to use the momentum of your chainsaw carrying you across the floor to get where you need to go. It's great, and the developer is Adrian Fox, self-published as well. So you have 2D platformer. You have to like figure out these different puzzles to get through. You don't actually have any combat other than like you have to essentially trick the enemy into you know offing itself, which is a pretty interesting take. It is, I believe, like $5 on Steam right now. It definitely is something I would recommend checking out. And giving it a go because we also gave the input to add like a death tracker on there. So there's some competitiveness to it too. So see if you can get it all the way through without any deaths.
Heck yeah.
Yo, so the next game, the fourth game I think that I've done so far, is Eldorand. Eldorand is like a Metroidvania. I played it on Steam, and it took me about 14 hours to play through it. So it throws you into the deep end a bit when you start out, but it does a really great job explaining the world, your place in it. Has really interesting world lore, and it kind of pulls a Dark Souls in that it hides most of it in item descriptions. The map design and the art style are really great, though your character kind of like doesn't really look like they fit in comparison to how good the enemy design and NPC designs are. Really weird choice on that regard. And there's a ton of weapons and armor. Your armor never changes, but the weapons you wield do change. And that art is also awesome, which again, really weird contrast to your character. There's a lot of really fun and interesting builds. There doesn't seem to be, say, like a terrible build, but there are clear winners. That being said, there are some weapons that are absolute dog shit, and you should just stay away from. Namely, most of the whips, pretty much all of the bows and arrows. Um, if you play a magic build, you're going to pretty much just steamroll the whole game. And the game starts, like I said, like with a pretty steep curve, but very quickly as you level, it just flattens it. It just becomes a cakewalk. And then you're pretty much just dealing with like some bullet sponge type enemies. But the maps are really cool. The designs are really inspired. And the storyline is actually pretty interesting. And I think that's probably what pulled me through for all 14 hours. Um, I would say that like I would highly recommend this if you can't stay away from Metroidvanias, or if you like the general aesthetic that it's going for. Otherwise, on Steam, Eldorand is 19.99, which I don't think is necessarily too steep. It's mostly positive, and I'm not sure if it's available anywhere else. But if you're curious enough, go look for it, and that's Eldorand.
All right. My next one is called Please Answer Carefully, which is a very short interactive survey that would be the survey you receive from that manipulative X that you blocked a few months ago. Pretty much, it's not really a game. You like make selections through the survey, and I played it a few times, or I went through it a few times, and nothing really has an effect. The audio is quite decent. There are audio cues and stuff like that that play as you go through. I'd actually recommend wearing headphones with this. Um, there's not much else to say really in terms of the gameplay. This would be a decent prank game or prank experience. Have a friend play, like just sit them down, like, hey, can you take the survey for me? But maybe don't do that with a friend who has dealt with emotional abuse. Just as
Mm.
a warning. Uh, that's yeah. Please answer carefully. Green.
Let's see here. I got It Takes Two. That game's been out for a while, but I don't think we've ever touched it on the show. I've been playing it off and on with my fiance. It is by Hazelight and published by EA. It is a co-op game. You have to have someone to play with you. And the coolest thing about that is only one person needs to actually own the game. The other person can download the friendship pack, or the friend pass, and it's completely free. And then you can play. And it's not cross platform. It has to be like if you're on PC, you have to play with someone who's on PC, and then Switch is the same way. It is on Switch as well. Very cute game. A lot of fun. It's a great adventure. A great storyline. You have to work well with your partner. It's a great date night, really. You're set in a world where a husband and wife get transported into little doll bodies and have to essentially figure out how to get back to their normal bodies. And they're also going through a divorce. So, spoiler alert. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. I think it was like $40. Yeah, it's $40 on Steam. I believe it's free to play on Xbox Game Pass. So definitely worth checking out, trying out, having a good time with it. And just have a good time with your girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, significant other person. It's great. Check it out.
Mendacii.
All right, my next one is going to be Signalis. It's a game that really took a lot of my time earlier in the year, and it came out back in October. It has had a lot of critical success. I've wanted to talk about this, but it just has not fit. Right now, it is free on Game Pass. You can get it on Steam. I bought it on Humble Bundle. $19.99, and I think that you can actually get it on PlayStation now. I don't know. You should check because it's phenomenal. Probably one of my favorite survival horror games. It's definitely in the top 5. It's got a PSX, very moody, very kind of like sci-fi look and feel to it. Overall, it is gory and fucked up, and you play as like a very realistic android trying to unravel what's going on in this space station, looking for the other android that you are supposed to go on a mission with and save her. So you are like an engineer slash semi-combat ready android, and the entire thing has like Silent Hill vibe the whole time. So it's very creepy, very spooky. Combat is just exactly where it needs to be. The level design and sound design and music are fucking top notch. The story is insane. The fact that you would actually get this whole idea out in front of you in today in this kind of delivered package is out there. Made by, I believe, some German folks who really love anime. So if you like Evangelion, if you like Silent Hill, survival horror games, and you don't mind that PSX aesthetic, you really need to get this. I think there's like 4 different endings. Um, so you could really get a lot of playtime out of this. Supposedly 12 hours for completionists, but I would tell you, you look closer to 15 or so, and probably a couple playthroughs. I think you'll really, really dig it.
Excellent. My last one here is called Monster Masters. It's a Poke-like mobile game where you fight other players with monsters that you collect from eggs. The combat is super duper duper basic and is more timing based, where hits are determined by where your monster is physically on the screen. The monster designs are kind of, they're decent. I'll be charitable. They're decent. There's nothing particularly breaking. They are competently made though, and gameplay is just kind of meh. It's a free to play on mobile. I got it on iOS, so there are some microtransaction stuff there in terms of like cosmetics and hatching eggs early. I really only downloaded it and played it because I was away from my usual setup. I was away doing business, and I really wanted to play Pokemon. I had like the Pokemon itch really bad. Not really a top recommendation for me, but if you are interested in it, that could be something. Green.
Okay, I think this is my last one as well here. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's called Circle of Sumo. I played it a while ago, a good while ago. I think it came out in 2020. It's free to play. It is an online, essentially sumo wrestling over the. It's like a 2D, top view sumo wrestling game. A lot of fun, very weird. You can either dodge, you can bounce like essentially like a parry, but you're essentially trying to knock the other sumo wrestlers out of the ring. And then it's kind of like a battle royale style too, where you can do like this like top tournament thing. Um, it is free to play on Steam. You can also pick it up. There's like an extra like cosmetic bundle for like $7 if you wanted it. And I believe it's on Steam or Switch as well. Definitely recommend it if you just want to kill some time. I believe they're still doing like season passes and stuff like that. Um, Very interesting game.
Mendacii, 2.5 minutes on the clock. Do you have any more?
I do. I have Lunacid, which is available only on Steam, made by one person, Kira LLC, and it is currently boasting a 10 out of 10 for a rating on Steam right now. It is a first-person dungeon crawler that's kind of inspired by FromSoft's games like Kingsfield, and it is intense. Got a little bit of that PSX feel, and of course the RPG elements. Really phenomenal NPCs, cool builds, and stuff like that. And it's not as say hard on you as Dark Souls. They're looking to hopefully bring it to consoles. It's also a whole whopping $6.99. And if you enjoy different dungeon crawlers, if you like FromSoft games, and you're looking for something different, you should check out Lunacid.
Dang, I think that's all of our games, right? Do we have any more? We have 1 minute 45 on the clock.
Oh well, I mean, I could tell you a little bit more about Lunacid. Yeah, so it's very much so like dark, a lot of like caves, a lot of wetness. There's some areas that are a little too dark, but you do have a lot of spells that you can cast. There's a really great leveling system, tons of different weapons, it seems. And overall, like I feel like it just draws you in to just continue to be curious about the different areas. And you have a nice little hub area full of wonderful NPCs like Cheryl the Crow that will sell you potions. Cheryl the Crow. There is one
I don't
weird
get it.
anime girl in I don't get it. There is one weird anime girl that doesn't really fit the vibe that is hanging out there. And when you see her, you'll know. You'll know. Oh yeah, and you can also make your character, which is cool. There's a lot of different kinds of characters to make. So yeah, definitely recommend it. $7. There's nothing to complain about here. Good job, Kira.
And with 41 seconds, I think we got through all of our games, right?
All 18 of them.
All
Check out Star Citizen.
Chico
Star Citizen's pretty cool.
Star Citizen's pretty cool.
18 games in 29 minutes and was that 19 seconds?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'll flash the actual time on the screen. I think that's pretty damn good.
There's some really good games in there too. Damn.
Yeah. If you guys like when we speedrun games, if you guys want a second one, let us know. The best way to do that is by subscribing on YouTube. That helps us out quite a bit. That lets us know that you guys like what we're doing. If you played any of the games that we speed reviewed, let us know in the comments. We'd also appreciate that. You can connect with us on Twitter. Granely, hit him with that Twitter.
At Next Nothing PC.
And let's just go around and where can people connect with you guys right now? Green.
I am still on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that Mr. Green Late. Don't know exactly what I got going on at the moment, but there's something going on, I'm sure. Yeah, check it out.
Mendacii.
Yeah, you can find me slinging hot takes, cakes, and the general tomfoolery over on Twitter at only Mendacii. Otherwise, like sometimes I stream. I had the charity stream that I did last week for Sally Nightmare, and raised a bit of cash there, and got her hair donated to Wigs for Kids. So that was really phenomenal. So I appreciate anyone that stopped out, watched me play some Hi-Fi Rush. I'll probably be streaming again sometime soon, and that is twitch.tv/Mendacii.
You can connect with me on Twitter at DannyK, DANIECAE. If I'm not streaming on the Next to Nothing Network channel, I am working on stuff for Next to Nothing and VRCana. Check out VRCana on this very YouTube channel if you like D&D actual plays. Otherwise, until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll see you again later. Bye!
Love you.